here. My name's Hella, and I had some sound going on another screen, so I'm like so distracted. We are half an hour early because we couldn't wait. I was over on R&M Productions live a moment ago with the lovely Ange and the lovely Finn. Yes. And we were talking and talking and talking, and then we decided, we'll jump over here. So why not? Why not? And why, oh, why was I over on Ange's live? Because stuff's happened, everybody. It's a big day. I woke up about 5:30 a.m. and I went, I wonder what's happening on the old X's. I went, what's happening on the old X's? And wouldn't you know, some documents have dropped. A few documents have dropped, and they are the motion to correct error by the defense, yes, and all the associated documents. All of the documents have dropped. And isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to hear from the defense of Richard Allen and hear some truth bombs for once? Because you know what? Lately, the prosecutor and law enforcement have been doing their press tours as they do. And that was going to be what today's stream was going to be all about. In fact, that's still what today's stream is going to be about. But I did want to address the fact that those documents are dropped and there are some bombshells in there. A lot of people in chat will know about them already. The biggest one, as far as I'm concerned, is the confession of Ron Logan. Ron Logan, who died in 2020, the owner of the land where the two girls were found. We know of a previous confession by Ron Logan, but this one is pretty detailed. It's pretty detailed, and it comes from someone else, Ricky Davis, I believe his name is. If I get that wrong, I will... it's Davis. That's right. Yep. So all of it is in the documents, which I'm about to paste. And thank you to Sleuthy Goosey for hosting all these documents and making them available to everybody, because the truth must be told. Transparency matters. Transparency matters. And we don't like hiding things in this community. No striking of documents. No striking of links, no striking of streams. We don't appreciate that. We like everything to be out there in the open. So thanks to Sleuthy for hosting these files. And I just posted them. Okay. And just wait, guys, until you have a bit of a read of those. And if you want the abridged version, go and have a look at Ms. RM Productions. RM Productions X is her Twitter handle, Ange, the lovely Ange. She's done a lovely job of taking out the salient points and tweeting them in a thread. Big claps to her. Andrea Burkhart has quote tweeted her today. And if that was actually the first, when I was in bed at 5:30 a.m. this morning, the first time or way that I was able to digest that information really nice and quickly, get a bit of an idea of what is in those documents. There's other things, the information about the van, the white van that only the killer could know, the timeline regarding that has been completely blown out of the water. There's other things in there as well that I will be streaming about this probably tomorrow. I'm going to be, I've sent a message to Sean, and I'm going to be talking to David Helm and Nick Starrow. I want to have a bit of a chat with a couple of lawyers and see what they have to say. Probably stream on it once I've had a chance to digest it a bit more. Probably tomorrow, I think. But for now, I just wanted to give credit to those people. So Ange, Sleuthy, I was just on stream with Finn as well. So many people in the community who are doing great work to get the truth out. And I pray for justice for Richard Allen. He did not get a fair trial. I believe he's innocent, but I'm not here to convince anybody that he's innocent. You don't need to believe that. All you need to believe is that he did not get a fair trial, and there is just masses of reasonable doubt. Masses. So, that said, love you, and you're awesome. You're awesome, and it's not over, Ma'a. No, it's not over. Hey, Maddie B, how are you? And AG Biochemist. Oh, is it snowing for AG Biochemist? Seriously? Okay, wow. And hello. Next thing you'll tell me it's snowing in Arizona.
Well, northern Arizona.
Wow. Okay. So, but it's snowing in like
Louisiana.
northern, like in Louisiana. Wow.
Southern Louisiana.
Has the world gone crazy?
I know.
Has the weather gone crazy? Oh dear. I'm sure it's happened before. Hey, Miku's headphones. How are you? And let's say hello to a few people. Yes. Hello. And you're awesome. Okay, and Chinny is here. Hello, Chinny. Rachel from Idaho says, I think the confession has info that would not be known to the public, so he couldn't make them up. Well, that was what the state hung their hat on. When it came to Richard Allen, they were all like, well, it's information that only the killer could know. Right? Well, there's information that only the killer could know from Ron Logan, right? Like actual real information that only the killer could know, as opposed to made up shit. So, yeah, we'll be looking at that more over the next couple of days. Okay, abridged. Get it? I didn't mean to do that, but I did. Hey, M's in Krebin World. All right, guys. So, hey, Erica, how are you? And JC, the music man, half Irish in the house. Whilst the last remnants of snow in Calgary are melting. It's weird. Yeah, so it's getting warmer for you, is it? That's weird. That is weird. It's so weird. Hey, Beyond. All right, so half Irish. I'm really sorry I changed the game on you. Love, have you gone around telling people that we're early? Half Irish goes around all the different Discords and tells people in chats that we are friendly with that we're going live. And usually she does it about half an hour before we go live.
Huge help.
And now we go live half an hour early.
Sorry.
Oh well, sorry. Hey Brad, how are you? Cool. Okay. So what we're going to be watching is Mr. Nick McDick doing a interview with a pretty young lady. I gotta say she's pretty. I can't say much else for her right now, but she's pretty.
Yeah.
She's pretty. Right? She's pretty. Let's have a look. There she is. Where's the cat, Dolly? I'm here for the cat. There's two cats, right? And they're beautiful. Hang on. Are you gonna? What did you change? Oh, look! Hello. Is that Junior?
Babu.
No, that's Babu. That's Babu. The lighter colored one is Babu.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Babu. Hello, Babu. Hello. Can you hold him up and show his markings?
Briefly.
Yeah. Oh wow. He's got spots. He's gorgeous. Hey.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That's senior, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Babu is the senior one, and obviously Junior is Babu Junior. Dali is not very creative, and he can't come up with a second name for the other cat, so he just called it the same name, but Junior.
Yeah.
So it's Babu Senior and Babu Junior.
Yep.
Yeah. It is a beautiful cat. It is a Aussie cat.
Yep.
Yeah. Hello, Sleuthy. How are you? Great work, love. You're always on it with all the documents. Thank you so much for everything you do. It is like a cheater. Yeah. Well, okay. So Salvador Dali, the real Salvador Dali,
Yeah.
because okay, newsflash, this isn't the real Salvador Dali.
Believe it
He
or
had
Ocelots.
ocelots. Yeah. And ossicats are derivative of ocelots,
They're
right?
named after ocelots.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, okay.
They're not
Something like that.
related,
No,
but
they're not
their
related.
markings are very similar, so they were named ocelots.
Oh, yes, yes. And this too, we are so onto this. So, did you hear about this, Dali?
No.
Yes. So, you know, Ain?
Yeah.
Ain?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ain and her non kind of half lawyer husband. So, Nick McLeland has done an interview with them.
Can we play it?
No, of course we can't play it, but we can play it.
Do we have a transcript yet?
Not yet, I don't think. Hey, Sleuthy, is there a transcript yet? Yay.
We have
And
a link.
and we were just speculating in Andrew's chat that isn't it interesting how he does a interview with them just before the deadline for the motion to correct happens. So before all of this information comes out and these talking points are on the table. So, hello, J-Rock.
Hey.
How are you? And Post Punk Mama is here. Of course we can't play it. Yeah, we'll get
Are you
stricken.
sure? Or Cat says we can.
No, of course we can't. Like
Okay, yeah.
anyone. Yeah, no. And even with the transcript, like remember, the only reason we didn't get struck last time was because we only did the reenactment
Yeah.
in part. So, yeah, we got to be super careful. But
Well, now she says only murder sheet strike.
okay. Well,
We can talk about it.
we'll talk about it later. Yeah. But yes, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, it's on. Okay. We'll see. Guys, you guys tell me. Oh, Kat, you guys tell me, because if this doesn't get, if there's no background of people getting struck, then I'm cool. I trust you. But like, tell me what you think. No transcript yet. It is kind of fun to do the reenactment, though, don't you think?
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. Stoked however you do it. Yeah, there is that. So anyway, yeah, Sleuthy, thank you. Let me know when it comes through. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, R&M did the video last night?
Really? I was watching R&M last night. Oh yeah, I know this video.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there's
This is
another
our
one.
chance. Yeah, oh yeah. There's another video?
Or is that what we were saying?
No, doesn't matter. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, you watched it with Ange last night. Yeah, I was watching it for a bit. I was watching this for a bit, and as I said to Ange, I was like, I watched it for about 10 minutes, and then I put
Same.
it on mute because I was like, I'll keep the stream going. I'll be like in chat, but I am going to mute for a bit because A, I can't handle it anymore, and B, I want to react fresh. So, yeah. Okay, so you were told 6. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry,
Dave.
David. Sorry, I forgot we invited you, David. I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay. You're welcome to come in, David.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we started early.
But it was mostly just introductory stuff, so we haven't started yet.
We haven't started. So we're kind of starting now. Yeah. You're welcome to come in, David. Come in if you want.
Or I can
Oh
send
my
you the
God.
link.
Yeah, he can get in. David is a lawyer friend of ours from Michigan, and I told him he's welcome to come on stream at 6. Oops. You feel too hurt to join now? It's a long story. I'll tell you later. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Right.
A trial
look-
of this magnitude,
Pause.
first off, lengthwise.
What?
What's in the books? Like, did they just like get some random binders and just set them on the table to look like, oh, we impotent?
Look, I've got no idea. All I know is that that's a fucking big dick desk.
Yeah, and like, do they also like shoot adult scenes in this space? Because it kind of looks weird.
It's like casting couch.
I didn't want to say, but they just moved the couch out of the shot.
Yeah, we hurt David's fifis. Oh well. Stay focused, Ali.
Sorry.
Stay focused. Yeah, the lady. Okay, she ain't the brightest, but her hair. My God, wait till you see the back of her hair. I know that's
jelly.
not what you're. AG, I know that's not what you're focused on, but her hair is really pretty. Okay.
Not even discussing the content.
Oh wow.
It was difficult.
pause.
Obviously, it's the longest trial I've ever had, lasting.
What?
Well, no, I think we just okay. So this is his office.
Yo.
Okay, that's creepy. So we just need to like look at his working space, and normally when people have two monitors, they kind of put them next to each other. But okay, you do you, boo. What's with the cords in the back? My God,
Hey,
sir.
yeah.
Have you never heard?
Oh my
of
God.
Have you never heard of a zip tie, buddy?
That is a fire hazard.
That's a huge fire hazard. My God, sir. I'm scared.
I'm actually interested in the post-it note. Like, does he eat them or?
Maybe, yeah, a little nourishment.
It's actually concerning. Okay, let's keep going.
You know, those 4 weeks, and the amount of information that was involved was more than I'd ever dealt with as well. And so it just took a lot of organization and making sure that each day we had planned out what we hoped to accomplish that day in trial. And then,
His
you know,
hair is a fire
logistically
hazard with
organizing
that
to make sure the
product.
witnesses were there. We had exhibits copied. And so it was a huge task.
What was that like for you preparation-wise? I mean, we talk about preparing for
Does he
any
have
trial. It
hemorrhoids?
takes time for any attorney to prepare for a trial. What was it like for you to prepare for a trial, A,
Okay.
in general speaking, but B, just the importance that it kind of felt like community, the world, all these people watching. What was that like for you?
Okay, all right. I have to. Does this woman realize that the whole world didn't get to watch? Like, all these people watching that we didn't get to actually
she's-
watch. Does she
she-
actually realize that we didn't get to watch?
That, and she's supposedly in the media, but doesn't have like a lapel mic. Like, seriously, do they have like
yeah,
one
it does-
mic?
The audio is very bad. I have
Yeah.
noticed that. It's really echoey. So who actually did this interview? Like, who are these people? WRTV Indianapolis. It's a bit of a shoddy production, to say.
Yeah.
Like, and what's with the being able to see the lighting equipment in the
Well,
background?
that's very professional.
It's very. And then look, if someone's left their crap
Yeah.
in the background.
That's probably
over
her
here.
crap. And we got a 3-hole punch in the back. I
Three-hole
got some
punch?
hand sanitizer. Good for you. I
Yeah,
imagine.
okay, but it's like basic setup. You walk in, you fix the shit
Yeah.
that's sort of hanging around in the background.
I mean,
Yeah, okay.
you
But the
live in a-
audio is unforgivable.
you live in a cold environment, dude. Don't you have like a coat rack, buddy? I mean,
I love how she acts like she was not at the trial. Yeah. As if porn says. Well, Kat, yeah. It does
it would
feel a bit
explain
like
his
it, right?
mustache, right?
Well, there
Not
is
that I can talk, but
Nah. Hey, someone in your comment section the other day said
I
that you
know.
should save that shit.
I know, and I got really insecure. I was like, maybe I should.
Maybe you
Hey,
should.
don't get your butthole out of the.
Preparation-wise.
Of course, you're under more scrutiny when it's a case that has as much publicity as this case did, and you have this sense of obligation that you want to do the best you can and make sure that you're completely prepared.
So you're auditioning for
And
Queer Eye
so,
for the straight guy?
You have that extra pressure, but in terms of preparation, you kind of just go through the same routine that you would with any trial. Just in this case, the trial is going to be lengthwise, it's going to be longer with more witnesses and more exhibits than I dealt with in the past. But you try to go through your same routine, and you don't want to change your routine just because it is a trial that has more publicity. And so I just tried to go through my same routine. I organized my exhibits, my witnesses the same as I would for any trial. And so I just
get my hair products.
You just mentioned it, but the publicity on this case was like nothing else, really. One of the biggest, if not the biggest case Carroll County has seen. As a defense lawyer before being elected prosecutor, coming into this process, did that play a role in kind of how you decided to do things or your strategy going in?
I think just your experience in general, whether it's you start off as a defense attorney and move to a prosecutor, or whether you just start off as a prosecutor and have a career as a prosecutor, I think your experience as an attorney is what plays into your decisions on witness order, what exhibits to put in, all those kind of things. I do think, as being a defense attorney, it gives me that unique experience.
Can you imagine this person as a defense attorney? Really? Like, it boggles my mind that this man has defended anybody ever. He sent someone to go and rot in a solitary prison cell for 13 months. He has absolutely no heart. Like, none. Zero. He's like completely, utterly, without shame. He allowed this to happen, right? This is not someone who defends the presumption of innocence of any person ever, right? I know you, and you too, Dali, know a lot of defense attorneys. They would not allow that to happen ever.
No.
Right? He is a career prosecutor, this man.
Yeah.
If he was a defense attorney, I reckon that he was a public defender, and he
interned during law school.
Yeah, and he did it because he had to, and he thought everyone was guilty anyway. Yeah. Oh, hello. Speaking of defense attorneys. Hello.
By the way, I just want to say I'm 3 minutes early to the original scheduled time.
Yes, you are. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dolly. Nice to meet you, David.
This is the, I know I've seen him before. I can't remember who.
The Johnny Depp trial.
Johnny Depp trial.
No offense.
Well, it says prosecutor shares insight on Delphi murders.
Yeah.
Amid public scrutiny. So I'm imagining, is this guy
in a skin routine?
He wasn't the prosecutor, was he?
Yeah.
Was he? Okay. Then he should be ashamed of himself. He should not want to show his face in public. He should go climb under a rock and hide for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
And just for wearing that shirt, like, what the hell is that?
You know, I don't even. I've had my day with prosecutors today.
Oh, really? Had a bad day?
Well, it's just so annoying. I can't get into the details of the case. Maybe one day I can. But it's just, why are you so angry?
No, I give you permission to say.
On this guy being convicted on this nothing of a charge, when nobody wants to see this happen, when it's not in the best interest of justice, nor this particular defendant, nor the defendant's family, but you want to see a conviction. Why?
Yep. Well, because he gets to gloat,
to tick it
basically.
Off his list. I got another conviction.
Done. Exactly. Like today, David, there was a motion to correct error released, and in it were some exhibits, one of which was a confession. There's been plenty of confessions by other people, by the way, but there was a confession from a man who actually died in 2020, and he owns the land where the two girls were found, where the crime scene was, and it was incredibly detailed, this confession. Just ridiculous. And the fact that this was not allowed in at trial is just atrocious.
The fact
Absolutely
that none of the
atrocious.
third-party stuff was allowed in
Yeah.
is ridiculous. It's, we went over it with the Zachariah Anderson case, the same issue. If the defendant wants to say spacemen came down and committed this crime and not me, let them. Why do we have to jump through hoops to allow the defendant to be able to point the finger at somebody? First of all, there's judicial immunity when it comes to defamation or anything like that. So it's not like there's any sort of repercussion. And let the defendant have his defense. End of story.
100%. If we're going to let the jury just decide, let them decide.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they've got so much power already.
Yeah.
Let them decide, for goodness sake.
It's a favorite thing prosecutors love to say. Well, just let the jury decide.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Then let them with all of the arguments, not just the ones that you've, carefully curated here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for being here, David. And everyone subscribe to Making Law Simple. That is David's channel.
Yes.
And
I will
David
have a
isn't.
stream again one day.
Yay.
One day you'll stream again. Yeah, David's awesome. All right, let's keep going.
To kind of view things from the other side. So when you start to think about what strategies the defense will have or what defenses they'll put forward, I think it gives me a unique perspective that I've been on that side. But I think prosecutors who have been career prosecutors have those experiences too that give them that, that advantage. So I think it's just your experience in general that gives you the knowledge and the wherewithal to say, okay, what order am I going to put the witnesses in? What exhibits are we going to produced to the court. In this situation, this is the first time I'd worked with two other attorneys on a case. And so we would have open discussions about what is the best way to move forward.
Wait, hang on, can we go back?
For trial.
What did he just say? Did he just say that was the first time he's worked with other attorneys,
two
other attorneys on a case?
It sounds like he's not used to working in a team. Now, I will say most prosecutors handle cases. The vast majority of the cases that a prosecutor handles, they're the only ones handling it, and they don't have a team of prosecutors handling cases. There are the big cases, the complex cases that they'll have a team. So he could have gone his entire career without ever teaming up with other prosecutors.
Okay. I find that to be very, strange, but fine.
No, most of the time, like even Oakland County, which is the Jennifer Crumbley case, that one they had two prosecutors and they had a third one working behind the scenes and he would testify every once in a while. That's very rare. When I have felony cases in Oakland County, and even Wayne County, which is the city of Detroit, we get one prosecutor that works the case the whole way through.
Also, Ariel had a request for you. David, please stream Jennifer Crumbley's hearing. Is Jennifer Crumbley having a hearing soon?
So there was a motion that was filed and there was a hearing that was scheduled for last week, I believe, but I don't think it went unless it was adjourned. If there's a hearing, I'll stream it.
Cool. David is the guy when it comes to the Crumbley case. All right, let's keep going.
What is the best witness order, those kind of things. So it was very much a group effort. It wasn't one person making the decisions.
We talk about public view, and you talk about this case in general. I mean, it captivated
God,
so
he's
many
moving
people,
the
not
lights
just from Carroll
again.
County, surrounding communities, the state, really nationwide.
He should be moving your mic.
Interested in this case. And really, because of that, there's kind of been this whole cottage industry, if you will, true crime people, interested in learning about the case, people just talking about the case. All the noise that's happening, whether it's after trial, before trial, standing outside of the courthouse, how did that impact you as the prosecuting attorney in this case?
Didn't at all.
You try to block it all out and try to focus, like you said, just on the facts of the case.
Made me feel
because
powerful.
what happens on a YouTube true crime channel or
Oh,
through the
filthy
media,
YouTubers.
that doesn't really affect the case. You've got to focus
Especially
on the
that
evidence that you have and the facts
excited
of the case.
utterance
And so you
bitch.
try to block it out.
Yeah,
Now,
bitch.
it's impossible to block it all out, especially when it's in your face, when you're leaving the courthouse. Obviously, it affected, I think, probably the family more than me because there were some personal attacks on the family. I expect personal attacks
Nobody
as a prosecutor. I
personally attacked
expect
the
not
family.
everybody's
That was
going to like
made
me.
Okay, so regarding the personal attacks on the family, and remember Nancy Grace had a big hoo-ha about it. a hoo-ha and a hoo-ha.
Oh, wait. Nancy Grace, the one who attacks the defendants even before they've been convicted when the charges first start, and they are the scum of the earth and the worst thing ever, and I can't believe those parents raised this bastard of a child. That Nancy Grace?
Her, yeah. Yes, her. Those filthy YouTubers. And by the way, she is a YouTuber. There's no way around it. That's where you find her, on YouTube. These days, I don't know where else she is. Someone else tell me, because I can't find her anywhere else.
I see her on YouTube and X.
Yeah, okay. So she said that filthy YouTubers were attacking the family, right? So there is some theories, we'll say theories, that there is potentially some involvement from the sister, right? That the sister may have been there at the time, right? Because the sister dropped off. This is the sister of Kelsey. Sorry, not Kelsey, of Libby. So Kelsey is the sister of Libby. That she dropped them off that day.
Isn't she the one that was supposed to pick them up too? Or was that someone else?
The dad,
Okay.
yeah, Mike, he picked them up. But yeah, she dropped them off that day. So there's speculation about that, whether or not she walked with them that day and all that kind of thing. So yeah, and there's more than one family. So which family is he referring to exactly? So, I mean, people are allowed to speculate about theories. That doesn't mean that you are bad-mouthing the family. And also, here's the other thing. Her hair was found wrapped around one of the girl's fingers, right? So that's hair. Actually the sister's hair, yes, right? And this was one of the very first days of trial that this information came out. So of course people are going to talk about it. Of course people are going to talk about it. So it's you can't stop public discourse. You just can't.
Well, they hadn't even.
So wait a minute. So saying, hey, the other sister's hair is wrapped around one of the victim's fingers.
Yeah.
That's an issue that might come up in trial and needs to be addressed. How is it that happened? Was the sister there? That's trashing the family. Because that's a legitimate...
It came up in trial.
That the police should have, followed up on.
Well, if I recall, they didn't even know it was the sister because they hadn't finished testing it, right?
Well, they didn't test it, I don't think, until like weeks before the trial, and I think it was upon the defendant's motion, if I remember correctly.
It was at trial. It came out that it was her hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So of course people are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. From the root, too. Right. So it wouldn't. Otherwise, it wouldn't get my attention since I shared everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the other thing, right? So people get each other's hairs.
My wife has long hair. There's a great meme of this guy sitting down on the edge of the bed with his underwear and he's pulling this long hair out. It just women's hair goes everywhere.
Yeah. You expect people who live with one another to have the other person's hair on them. Like that in itself wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah, but not wrapped around from the root.
Yeah, it does sound a bit strange. So of course, people are going to talk about it. But Nancy Grace made a huge deal about YouTubers bashing the family, involving the family in like conspiracy theories and things like that. And so that's what he's referring to here. And it makes YouTubers look like the bad guys because they have, their theories.
One of your chatters says they didn't test it until trial. That's what I thought. They didn't test it until trial.
Yeah.
Hey, Berries, how are you? They kept that stuff together, ladies. Yes. Hello, Twizzle. How are you? Cool. 30 minutes behind. Sorry, John. Sorry. Okay, let's keep going.
And so I kind of expected it and didn't bug me. I guess you'd have to ask the family whether it got to them or not. I think some of the community members, it got to them because just so many people bad-mouthing Delphi as a whole in Carroll County and unjustly doing that. But for me, I just tried to block it out as much as I could and focus on, okay, what do we want to present at trial and what are the facts that we can prove?
How difficult was that for you to combat that? Here's what's happening in the courtroom and here's what's spreading like wildfire outside the doors.
I guess that's kind of a two-part question. For the pretrial phase, my
Stop
concern
moving your hands,
was
sir.
that we were going to taint any kind of jury pool that we had a hope of getting. And so that was my biggest concern, that we're not going to be able to get a jury pool that hasn't heard about this case or hasn't formed an opinion, because there was so much outside noise coming in and so many podcasts and YouTube channels and all these different things who were reporting on it. And so pre-trial, that was my main concern. It didn't really affect me in terms of preparing for the case, but when selecting a jury, I was of the concern of, okay, are we really going to be able to get a jury that hasn't formed an opinion about this case already based on something they've seen in the outside world? And I've never dealt with a case that has much publicity as this, so there's a legitimate concern in this case. When you get to trial,
Oh my God.
again, I really didn't have a concern because the jury was sequestered, and so I felt pretty confident that they weren't getting all that outside noise. When we get to trial, my biggest concern was the safety of witnesses we had coming in and out of the courthouse, the safety of the family coming in and out of the courthouse, and just then the safety of the officers working the courthouse and the grounds around the courthouse.
Were you
Because
scared of
my
Odinus?
concern was that a
Odinus, yeah.
YouTuber, podcaster,
No.
or somebody else was going to fuel the
They were
fire
happy.
for somebody.
What?
What'd you say, Deb?
I would say that he's not scared of the Odinists. The Odinists are happy. They got away with it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But you know who could have attacked them? Those filthy YouTubers.
Yes.
Definitely. It was definitely a YouTuber.
It's
Definitely.
definitely a YouTuber. And you know what? The YouTubers are all narcissists.
And I was going to say, Catastrophe, is this guy, like, is this his tryout tape for the reboot of The Addams Family?
Is this
He wants to be Thane?
Is this the elected prosecutor or is he assistant prosecutor?
No, pretty sure
ADA.
he's elected.
He's the elected chief
He's the
prosecutor.
head DA?
Because he talks like a politician.
Yes, you're right.
Well, he's
You're
planning
right.
on running if he isn't.
He's going to run for governor.
Yes. Andrew is probably taller and can hit harder than him. Oh, for sure. For sure.
This guy
Definitely
looks,
hit harder.
this guy looks like he cries after sex, so wouldn't surprise me.
I think this is an opportunity to talk about Sal and his projecting.
I knew you were going to turn that on me.
What
Yeah,
about
okay.
during
You're right, he cries during.
and before?
Well, in the last 2 seconds, it's kind of all happens at once.
Oh God. Oh dear. Oh my God. Okay. Oh wow. Yo, righto. Sorry. Keep going.
Who would act on those emotions and do something drastic, either intentionally mess up the trial, say something when they're in the audience, cause a ruckus in the courthouse, put the officers in danger. put
Listen to
witnesses
how
in danger.
pompous this
So
guy
those are
is.
my concerns
Yep.
with kind of
Pause.
the outside publicity.
Everyone is potentially dangerous except for the state, who can lock you away and let you waste away in a prison for 18 months. Don't worry, the state's not the dangerous one. It's those YouTubers.
He's worried about what disruptions in the court. That judge was running that courtroom so tight, she yelled at the gallery
Yep.
when she dismissed the jury. The gallery had to go run to get their spots to come back in. And
Yep.
they didn't even have time to go to the bathroom or get water or eat. And
That's actually true.
and she's screaming at them because they're rustling papers in the gallery.
Yo.
So, who is it in your chat? And this is Catastrophe. No, wait. Someone says, is this guy a lefty? Surprisingly,
AG.
the more conservatives talk like this.
Yeah.
It's a weird oxymoron because they'll be
Yeah.
so conservative, liberty and freedom, but they act like this when it comes to law and crime. We got to punish, and everyone
Yeah.
we arrest and charge is guilty, and we got to clean up the streets. It's a weird oxymoron sort of situation.
It is, but
I have no idea about the political leanings. All I know is that it's very difficult. In terms of with my understanding of the whole way that you guys in America elect people like this, I find it so hard to understand how
Okay.
it can be.
It's supposed to be checks and balances.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're supposed to be able to oust a person like this if they are prosecuting people that the citizenry don't feel that should be prosecuted. So you can have bad laws, but we don't prosecute on those bad laws. It's the same thing with judges, is that we're supposed to elect judges that will safeguard people's rights and make sure that the state is upholded or is held to its standards and things like that. And then lastly, with the jury is the last stop between a tyrannical government and locking up citizens, right? You are the citizenry. You are the ones, you are the final check on government authority. You can have a stupid law, a corrupt prosecutor, a corrupt judge, but they got to convince the citizenry. And the problem is that we have a failure at every level. We have a failure with the prosecutors. We have a failure with the systematic judges and prosecutors that become judges in this insider thing. And defense attorneys are the scourge of the earth. And everyone hates defense attorneys because all they do is get the guilty people off.
Yeah.
And the jury just sits there and says, well, the state says you did it. I guess you did it.
Yeah.
They don't understand their role. Nobody understands their role. The system is designed, in my opinion, perfectly. The problem is the people in the freaking system.
Yep.
In theory, it's perfect. It's just in practice.
In theory, I see that. Yes, Daniel D. They're all appointed in Australia. We don't elect anyone in the judicial system at all.
Can you
No
fire
prosecutors, no judges.
them? Or can somebody
How do
fire
you mean?
them? Like they're
Absolutely.
appointed, but can the politicians then fire them?
The judiciary can fire them, and then the politicians can fire the head
Judiciary.
judges. Yeah. So there are levels, and the level
Okay.
above can fire the level below, and then the government can, if there's like misconduct, then there's an inquiry, and then the inquiry will say that someone has to lose their job. But it's not one person that will sack another person. It'll be an inquiry.
Yeah.
So,
What's the,
but yeah,
what's
the
the
public.
alternative? Someone in your chat is saying, electing them is nuts. What's the alternative? Appointing them? So you have the government telling you that this other government agent is going to be sending you away to prison. How is that any better?
Well, in
What?
theory, you would be electing the government.
Yeah, you're electing the
Officials.
government. Yeah, but
Yeah, but they're
okay.
appointees at that point. They're bureaucrats. At least in this particular case, or like the Oakland County prosecutor that convicted Crumley, we had an opportunity to potentially oust her. She won narrowly, but at least every 4 years she's up for re-election, and the people got to say yay or nay
Yeah.
directly for her.
But here's the
Well-
problem, right? And okay, so here's the problem I see with it. The people will never elect a judge because they want to go easier on crime, right? They want to elect a judge because they're going to go harder on crime, right? Yeah. So if they see that something like this has happened to Rick Allen, they're not going to get rid of Gull.
See, that's the problem. Is I don't think. Well, first of all, people don't see the judges on a day-to-day basis. When I complain
Yeah.
about certain judges in my area, and I say
Yeah.
that they have my client screaming or like crying, thinking that she's going to get locked up because the probation department made a mistake on her bond conditions, not because she did anything, and is going off on her and won't let me actually make an argument for the record because I know this is going to the Court of Appeals, and continuously shuts me down and won't let me make a record. The court, or the people that elect this judge don't see that. And he's not in my district, so I don't elect him. I just have to work with him. So I really like cameras in the courtroom for that. And I like people that are educated when they elect judges in particular, but most people don't. I call all the judges that are running if I don't
Really?
like them. Yeah.
So Michael
You talk
Osbrook is
to them?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Michael Ellsberg is an attorney in Indiana. He says the system is designed so any part of the system can say it's the fault of another part of the system for any failure. What do you say to that, David?
Well, that's what this guy, and that's what most prosecutors do. They're like, you know what? Let's just let the jury decide. That's not your role. Your role is supposed to be upholding justice. If it's clear on the face, like you don't have a strong case, then you don't just let the jury decide. You don't charge the case. Your job is to act in the interest of justice, not in the interest of, well, let's just see what the jury decides. So that's what they often do. They're like, oh, we'll just throw it to the jury, or we'll throw it to the judge. The judge allowed us to do it. I had a prosecutor this spring try to present prior bad acts of my clients, prior convictions and criminal charges against him that she knows the law bans. There's a specific statute in Michigan that says you can only go back 10 years. Can't go back any further. And she's bringing up cases that are 25 years old. She knows she can't, but she's like, well, if I present it and the defense doesn't challenge me, then I'm free to put it in. Why do that? You know you can't.
Very interesting. All right. Cool. All right, let's keep going.
Not so much with the facts of the case.
You mentioned some of it about, sequestering the jury, pooling the jury, hoping that you're going to get a jury that, whether they've heard about the case, haven't heard about the case, but ultimately a jury that has no formed opinion. Do you feel Richard Allen had a fair trial?
His head moves like that a lot.
How do you feel in terms of the sequestering process?
Do you think he was going to say no? What a stupid goddamn question.
Jury, you think
But
it went
here's the
smoothly, or
thing.
how difficult was
But
it?
she ignores the important stuff. Like the jury wasn't sequestered. Do you think he had a fair trial? How about the fact that you challenged his legal defenses and he wasn't allowed to present his legal defenses? Do you think he had a fair trial? You got to ask him that?
Yeah.
Or a
No.
bidding man.
That's a puff piece.
For your team to cultivate that jury?
Well, we didn't have anything, we didn't have any responsibility with having them sequestered. That was all on the staff from Allen County. I think they did a great job because they didn't allow the jury to be contacted by outside sources, and they took all those necessary steps, so I think they did a great job. Once we started the trial, we didn't have any concern about them being sequestered. We trusted that the Allen County staff was going to take care of that, and again, we just focused on what we had to present. A lot of it is, it's not tunnel vision, but a lot of it is keeping your eye on the ball and just focusing on what you have to present and not getting caught up in all that. And so that's what we did.
This guy deserves to be
It's had
slapped
lots of
by
ups and downs, I think, with anybody who was in there, I'm sure, for the prosecuting team too. Are you surprised that Richard Allen didn't testify?
No. Being a defense attorney for as long as I was, that's always the big question. Do you have the defendant testify? It's a catch-22. They have the absolute right not to testify. And if they don't testify, then you're relying on evidence either the prosecutor put out or that you can get out through other witnesses. If they don't testify, the jury is not able to hear them say, I didn't do it. And I think that's a big thing for juries to hear. On the other hand, if you have them testify, you open them up to cross-examination and open them up to oftentimes a lot of hard questions that are going to be hard for them to answer, which could make them look equally as bad in front of a jury. And so it's always, each case you have to look at individually. And so I wasn't surprised he didn't testify, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he did.
I think you would have been surprised if he did testify because the dude could barely speak, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you fucked his brain up that bad.
I mean, I haven't heard any interviews or what his current state of cognitive ability is. But Steve Gosney brought up a couple of years ago, really interesting point that he believes the standard always has been is you don't put your lying guilty defendant on the stand, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the turn of phrase, even if he's not necessarily lying or guilty. But you don't want to open him up to cross-examination. But the standard, according to Steve, seems to be that the juries expect it now. And that your default should be the defendant testify as a defense attorney. The defendant testifies unless you're convinced that there's something horrible that's going to go wrong if he does. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Turn around.
I mean,
Juries want to hear from the defendants. That's the state of affairs we're at.
Juries love to hear from defendants, but here's the thing: the defense is putting forth that he is absolutely he's been scarred by this process of being put in solitary confinement and drugged for all this time. So if he were to be put up on the stand and he were to be perfectly cognitively aware and speaking perfectly well, then the jury would take something from that. If he were to be put up on the stand,
Yes.
and he would have his eyes rolling back in his head and all sorts of things.
Was the fact that he was in solitary confinement and kind of messed up, was that presented in front of the jury?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
How was that presented in front of the jury?
Videos.
Oh, yeah. They showed him, eating on his...
because he had his confessions and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
The confessions, and also, the defense wanted to show videos of him actually, like, eating the feces and all that kind of thing, and they showed it.
But he was just feigning. He was trying to...
The prosecution said he was feigning. Yeah.
I mean, I do it every once in a while just to get a rise out of people.
We all have fun with feces face.
Yeah. Half Irish, we don't know if he was still medicated at trial. I mean, I don't believe there was any testimony of such, but maybe he was. So the state and the experts were all like, feigning, right, cat, with involuntary shots of Haldol. Yeah, exactly. So that was allowed in. I believe the state objected to that being allowed in. Well, yes, they did object to all those videos being allowed in. And so the jury had to watch him go through all that stuff.
Did you guys
but it wasn't that
cover
bad.
Any of the jury interviews?
There was only one, but yeah.
There's only been one, and we have done a reenactment of it here. And that juror said, and the juror said that it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as we expected it to be. Yeah, it's horrifying.
All right. I'm gonna have to watch that. Was that when I was out of town?
You were out of town. You actually popped into chat for a second, but yeah.
I dropped chat bombs because I like to support. Chat away.
You do.
Thank you.
You do. Yeah. So anyway, so they saw it all, but here's the thing. Him being up on the stand, he could never have behaved correctly for the jury.
Yeah.
Right? Because his mental state was in question.
So if he acted normal, he'd be faking when he was eating.
If he acted
feces.
Normal, then he would have been faking everything having to do with his confession. If he acted
100%.
weird, then he would have been weird enough to have committed this crime.
That's it.
Prepared if he did testify with questions that we were going to ask him. But that's always a very tough decision as a defense attorney, whether or not you have your client testify. And you oftentimes have to make that decision in the fly. Is it going to help me or is it going to hurt me? And so we were prepared for either way they went. And so I guess I wasn't surprised, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he had testified as well.
Speaking of the jury, in your opinion, what do you think did it for the jury? What do you think was that tipping point to reach that guilty verdict?
I don't know. One of my pet peeves is when people tell me how I feel or what to think, and I'm not going to sit here and tell the
Objection leading. Sorry, what?
I said she just had like AI generate questions for her, and they just sort of randomly spit them out. But speaking of the jury, you weren't speaking of the jury, woman. Sorry, I had to say that.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't.
Jury, they should have hung their hat on this or should have made a decision based on this. In my mind, I would like to think it was just the totality of the circumstances, the totality of all the evidence that we had. And so I don't know if there was one specific thing.
He really couldn't give a shit. As long as I found him guilty, he couldn't give a fuck.
And you have 12 individuals who all have different life experiences and think differently. So what may have been the deciding factor for one juror may not have been the deciding factor for the other. One juror may have bought into or believed in the science of the ballistics. One juror may have said, okay, the timeline is what I hung my hat on. One juror may have said the confessions.
Well, my wife's boyfriend really bought the confession part and thought that was a big deal. So I really made sure that was part of my case.
My wife actually was like, well, he confessed to it. And I said, just wait.
I thought you were going to say your wife's boyfriend.
The information about how the confession came out.
Deeds. He literally looked at the juror, probably so full of hope that they didn't look away from him when they caught his eye. The juror just like, ew, his eyes.
Grody.
Grody,
Gag
get me with the spoon. Jinx.
This
In
guy's
my
gonna
mind,
make
it was
his
just a
entire
totality of everything,
Sadly.
that led to the conviction. But
At least
again,
Banner
that would be a
ruined
question
his.
for the jurors. I don't want to try to tell them what they think or tell them what they should.
Oh God, he uses just for
When you
men.
hear that word theory really just being thrown out and about, as a prosecutor, when you
Speaking
hear
of
the word
throwing
thrown
things
around,
out and
what goes
about.
through your mind when you hear this word theory thrown around the way that it has?
Wait. Speaking of throwing things out and about,
Yes. This is.
he reminds us of this guy.
It's him in court.
Oh my God!
If there's someone to point the finger at, it would be his brother. Oh my God!
So you get it right.
He does look like him.
And he's a lawyer and just.
That's why he's so fascinated with his hands, and he does
Yes.
this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, look at my big hands. They're not small hands. They're big.
Yes. Can you put your hands over mine
dear.
when we take this picture?
Yeah, and you're right, USA Libertarian. I'm not a huge fan of I think you mean jurors having contradictory theories of the crime and still voting guilty. He couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He could not care
Prosecutors
less.
have been pushing that lately. The same thing with Jennifer Crumbly.
Yeah.
And it was a big challenge in the motion that was brought for a new trial, and it's going to be a big issue on the appeal, that the jury could literally find her guilty. Six jurors could say she was guilty of A, and 6 jurors could say she's guilty of B, and then therefore she's guilty
Yeah.
of both.
Totality of the
doesn't make
bullshit.
sense.
Pressing play.
Oh, really, Ariel?
I've said this before, and I'll stick to it. It's okay if you want to use the word theory, but you got to back it up with evidence. And if you want that theory to become a truth, you got to have evidence to back it up. And we live and die by the burden of proof of beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh,
and
fuck
so
off.
if you can prove a theory beyond a reasonable doubt, then to me it becomes a truth in the court of law.
You can't prove I'm gay.
Until then, it's just a theory, and that's just what it is. It's an idea of what you thought happened.
This is what he looks like.
And so I don't have a problem with people throwing that word around.
Who's
but
that?
Where's the evidence
This
to
is-
back it up?
Oh,
There's been so
hardcore
much time
pawn.
where
Hardcore
neither
pawn.
side had
This
an
is what he
opportunity to
looks
say much. It was under the gag order, obviously, for quite some time.
Pawn Stars ripoff.
What to you did the gag order
Hey, the
mean?
Detroit-
Gag order to me was just a reiteration.
Pause.
Okay, let me see. I'll make you full screen.
All right. So this is Hardcore Pawn. This is a Detroit-based TV show, Pawn Shop. That's what he looks like. The guy who owns this.
In
Oh, shit.
15 years.
Oh God, look.
Yeah.
Like that look suits him more, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Ask David about the jury breaking off in groups.
Oh,
Wait,
okay. So the juror, in the juror interview, she said that when they were deliberating, that they broke into 3 groups of 4, right? And yeah, we actually
they
did
in
a
the
stream
same
with
room?
Sean. She didn't say.
So, at least in Michigan, the rule would be that the jury is not allowed to deliberate outside of the jury room when they are all together. So, in theory, you can't deliberate in small little groups. I guess in theory, if they're all in the jury room and they're just sort of like sitting at 4 corners of the table,
Yeah.
talking amongst themselves, that should be fine. But if they're like down the hall and meeting in these little groups, that would be a problem, at least in Michigan. I don't know about Indiana.
Yeah, we had Sean on to talk about that, and he was like, nah, they'll find a way around that if it gets complained about.
Well, but I mean, my thing is like if they're in the same room, then in theory they're in the same room.
Yeah, they are.
Two individual jurors can have a conversation separate from everybody else about the case, so long as they're all in the room together.
yeah, how do you stop it?
Yeah.
You can't stop it. Like it's, yeah. If anything's gonna cause a retrial,
It's
I
not
would
that.
think it's not going to be that.
Yeah.
Unless they truly were in
exactly.
separate rooms.
Well, yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
a big issue.
That's a whole different story. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
Or re-emphasis on the rules of professional conduct that we're bound by, and that is that you should not put out anything in the public that's going to try to taint the jury or elicit a response
Taint?
from the public. And
Did he say taint?
we're bound by those rules.
Twice
and the gag
now, I
order is
think.
just an emphasis of that.
my
to
God.
say,
He
don't
loves that
talk
word.
about this case in the public. Don't put out press releases that try to
Don't Google it.
condition the public to whether Richard Allen was guilty or innocent. And mainly that was done so that we can get a jury that's not tainted or
Taint has
biased.
entered
I really
the
had a
chat.
fear that we were,
3 taints.
regardless
Or
of how many
taint.
people that we subpoenaed
Ricky
in to do
Bay.
for jury duty, that we weren't going to find 12 that hadn't heard about this case. And so it was a real
I
concern
actually do
for
need
me.
a taint
And
emoji.
I wanted to be able to get 12 people who didn't form an opinion about this case, were unbiased, so that we could have a fair trial, not only for the state, but for Richard Allen.
And you felt like you got that?
Yes.
It's so easy these
Criminality
days, I
in
think, to
chat.
electronically disseminate
Hello.
anything. I mean, still
Coke
to our
dealer
newsroom,
hair.
we get leaked crime scene photos. That photo that was leaked.
Sure.
As the prosecutor,
Oh, here we
do you
go.
think there should be something in place to try to protect evidence like this, or do you think that there should be
Oh my
a
God, what a
safeguard of sorts
stupid
or anything to try to
question. There
prevent
is,
things
woman.
like that from happening?
Sorry. What did you say?
I said, oh my God, what a stupid question. There are procedures in place.
Yeah,
This
there
is
was
just
a
an
huge
opportunity
deal.
to bash the defense team. That's all this is. Who is this woman? I'm more disgusted by her questions than his answers.
Look, she's just some chick. She's got pretty hair.
Oh wow,
Like-
she's on a
Her
couch.
daddy wrote these questions for her.
Wow, she's really on a couch.
She is.
I was joking about the casting couch.
Yeah, right. Oh dear.
Oh my god,
I mean,
Nick, my boy, why do you have a couch in your office, buddy?
to be fair, he probably wrote the questions for her. He probably said, "You can do the interview, but I will write the questions."
Oh,
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
the worst questions.
now we know
They're
how she got
terrible.
the
This is
interview.
just an opportunity to bash the defense team for something that the defense lawyers didn't even do. It was like a rogue paralegal or something.
It was like a former employee.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and he unalived himself.
Yeah.
It was very
Ask him
bad.
about why he fought so hard to prevent the defense from actually bringing their defense. Ask him. Ask him. I dare you.
Please, yeah, go. Wouldn't it be great if it all just turned around right now and she got some balls? Like,
That would be amazing.
wouldn't it be
It would
amazing?
be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be so great.
I think the
You
lawyers
see
are the
the
safeguard,
veins
both the
popping
state
on his
and the
forehead
defense. I
now?
think we are the safeguard. We have an obligation to protect that confidential information and sensitive information that we get in discovery. I think we have to be the safeguard. Is there a better way to do it? Police it? I don't know. But I think we as attorneys have a responsibility, especially dealing
Twizzle,
with
you don't have to tell us about your
and if
private
children
life.
are victims of things, children's statements, photos of children, photos of the crime scene that involve children. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that with photos of crime scenes that involve adults, but I think we have an extra level of care and duty to protect those things that involve children victims. So I think the attorneys are the safeguard. Is there a better safeguard? If there is, I don't know what it is.
Talk about why that's so important to you, because as a mom myself, obviously, I would never want photos like that of my child to be circulating. No one in their right mind would want to. Why is that so important to you to let people know, hey, this is not okay?
It was important at the press conference because I think that we've gone down this road with a lot of the YouTubers and podcasters and even some media that it's all about how many people can I get to tune in or how many clicks can I get?
Oh,
how many
for
followers
sake.
can I get? And we'll
Well,
do any means possible to get those followers, to get another follower or to increase that number. And that goes
my
as far
God.
as showing the crime scene where, there's 2 girls that are dead, one of which is naked. And I just wanted to really emphasize that you can tell this story without those photos. And whether you want to believe it or not, if you pass those photos on, you're part of the problem. And we can never, law enforcement did our best to scrub the internet of those photos when they were leaked. But it is an impossible task. If it gets sent to one person, like you said, it's so easy to disseminate stuff. Once it gets sent to one person and it's on the internet,
knows a lot
it
about
gets
that.
posted
Did he just say seminate?
Yeah.
He did.
Well,
He said seminate.
well, him and Holman had a whole.
To disseminate.
Him and Holman had this whole thing. It's a long story.
I'm gonna send him an invite to a Lego stream.
Oh, please. Please do. He doesn't know who you are.
No, he has no idea who I am.
No. But you're a filthy YouTuber, you see.
Yeah, but if I do
So-
if I promote the Lego stream and it's like, hey, I got a Lego stream, Lego channel, where we just interview people, while building Lego, and because there's none of my other stuff is on that.
Tell him you've invited Gray Hughes as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him an invite. Why not?
Yeah, go for your life. What worst that can happen? He says no.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so for guys who don't know, right? So David's not just a
don't.
lawyer, he's also a Lego champion, right? So
Speaking of, look, I just got a new Lego today in the mail.
I bet you did. Yeah. And he invites all sorts of people, very famous people often, onto his Lego streams to chat and play Lego, right? And put like Lego together. And it's kind of like a talk show and chat. And
It's an interview show with.
It's an interview show.
It's an interview
Yeah.
show with Lego.
Yeah. Anyway, you would never imagine the things that come out in these conversations over Lego.
Because they're so distracted by the Lego,
Yeah.
they'll say things that they didn't mean to say.
Yeah.
See?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, David likes to play with his Legos.
Oh, he does. Make
All right.
him step on a
I need
Lego.
this
That would
guy's
be
email address.
fantastic. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Andrea went on the Lego stream.
She did.
She did. She was great, obviously. Obviously, she was great. Ella just sounded like David was a 2-year-old showing the new tricks. Oh, mate. Like,
No idea.
people have tried to steal the Lego concepts,
Oh, yes. they
right?
have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but only David. Only
Nicholas
David is the Lego
McLeland.
master. Yes, indeed. Have you built a Lego courtroom? Oh, that's a good idea.
I have, actually.
Have you? You've already
Yeah,
done that?
because I was doing a stop motion animation, the reenactment of the
Oh, I remember that.
Lizzie Borden trial.
Mm-hmm.
And so I built a whole courtroom from scratch, and I have all the characters for the Lizzie Borden trial. And it's so time consuming to do stop motion animation, but I have the transcripts from the trial, so I have all the voices dubbed. It was going to be fun. Maybe I'll still do it.
Yeah. Right, let's get going.
Twitter or Facebook or wherever, it's out there in the internet and you can never get it back. And so I was really emphatic about saying don't use
Like my
these
wife's
photos
boyfriend's sex tape.
to get more clicks or to get more readers of your story. Use something else because the only way, Becky Patty said, is generational. The only way we're going to stop those things from being, I guess, published through the internet is if we get people to stop sending them forward.
How did the heaviness play a role or a toll in you as the prosecutor? I mean, I can't imagine the time and the hours that are put into a case like this on top of the heaviness of it.
Yeah, the time and hours, I mean, obviously myself, Jerry Holman, Indiana State Police, my investigator, Steve Mullen, everybody involved spent a ton of time trying to track down.
I can imagine
how
the amount of
leak
time you
occurred,
spent with
and
Holman.
then spent a ton of time trying to scrub the internet of those photos. And so that just takes on top of everything else you're doing with the case. And so it
Please don't say
is a
on top
huge
after
amount
I
of work
said
to try to
that.
do that. The toll, I tried not to think about it much during the trial because you don't want to get consumed with emotion where you kind of take your eye off the ball. I think afterwards it hit me a little bit harder to think, okay, these pictures are still out there and they're of these two little girls. And I think I have so much compassion for the family and how they feel when, I mean, people
You
are
don't
sending
care.
them those photos and, saying, hey, they are out there. And
Oh, yeah, they
and
just
those
call
kind of
them
things. So it
Captain
really took an
Compassion.
emotional toll on me afterwards, because I started thinking about the family, and kind of the words that Becky said hit home pretty hard, that it's generational. And just what I said at the press conference, what if it was your children? And so during the trial, it angered me that those were out there. No reason for those to be out there. I don't care what kind of story you want to publish. You don't need those pictures to promote that story, in my opinion. And so it really angered me. And then afterwards, yeah, it's emotional to think, I have kids too, and it's just emotional to think, what if those are my girls? What if they were pictures
I'd be
of my
angry at the prosecutor.
nieces or my sister?
They're clearly
Yeah.
adopted.
Angry at the prosecutor because I don't think this is the right guy. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, you just let the killers go.
Yeah.
Right?
And I say
100%.
killers, plural, because
Yeah.
given the state of affairs, this was more than one person.
I do not get not wanting to find out who else was involved, because it's clearly more than one person.
It would. Yeah.
I don't get that, right? And this whole thing about playing this innocent role, like you are so compassionate towards the victims. It's a very Jennifer Coffinduffer kind of way of winning
Don't
over the
mention
public.
her name.
Sorry, Coffin
Sorry.
Liquor.
I know there's a lot of sexual tension there.
Yeah, right. So every time she tweets, she puts up pictures of the victims. So that makes her more credible, because no one who puts pictures of the victims up could possibly be evil, right?
Every
Just
time
like
I hear
this
that
guy.
name, I just think of her running away from that house.
Yeah.
I can't remember whose house she was, but she was like caught on camera running away like a fool.
It was the one where John O'Keefe was found.
Is that the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
just think, that juror was, as Ariel says, she was infatuated by this sexual stallion, McLeland.
oh,
His
that's
beard.
right. She wanted to sit in his chair.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, but David.
Wait, was
So
she the juror?
Yeah, the juror. Oh, hang on. Was this chick the juror? David, the juror said, "Guess what? I got to sit in the prosecutor's chair."
So this is my problem, is that the jurors don't take their job seriously. This is the 48-hour effect. The jurors sit there and they want to hear about a sensational case about how this guy did it before they vote guilty. They're not really weighing the evidence anymore.
No, absolutely not. Anyway.
Or whatever the case may be. So
Outside of the leaked photos, just the case itself. I mean, as a parent yourself, as somebody who has to go home and take care of kids,
sure.
it's challenging. I know the toll it took on me, not even just being home. I can't imagine the hours that have to go into preparing for something like that. Caseload, generally speaking, outside of the leaked photos, can you share what that was like for you and how you navigated?
There are days you get overwhelmed and you want to just quit, and because you
Does he
have
have
2 or 3
pictures
things
of
going
his
on. You may
kid
have
or
another
the
fire to
victim?
put on in the office, or another
Yes,
case
he does,
came in
behind
that you
him.
have to deal with
The victims?
on top of the stuff for Richard Allen. And there are days you get overwhelmed.
His, I
You
think.
just
They're
have
his kids.
to,
Okay.
I guess, organize it in a way where you're just accomplishing one task at a time and try not to get overwhelmed. But there definitely are days that you get overwhelmed and think, I have so much to do. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. Obviously, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of time away from family and friends, a lot of missed family events, and you just have to sacrifice that to put the work in that's necessary for the case. And so, we're paid for 37 hours a week, and that's just what we are. You're not working 37 hours a week when you're working on this kind of case. I do not know how many hours, I don't know that I want to know how many hours I put in on it, but a bunch.
Generally speaking, you talked about it, but how does one not take something like that home, the heaviness home? How does one not let it get to him?
I don't know. You just learn to leave, I guess, that part at home. I mean, you think about it all night and all day when you're at home with your kids or with your family. You think about it. In this case, it was hard to get away with it get away from it because, my family wants to talk about it. My friends want to talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about it and wants to know what's going on. But you kind of just have to be able to put it to the side and enjoy the time that you have away, because that's your time to recharge. So when you come back, you can, work on the case again. So it's not easy, but it's just something you learn. I think probably all attorneys have this ability where they can kind of put those cases aside and put the emotion aside.
He thinks he's a fucking superstar.
And, you know, still go home and enjoy time that you have with friends and family.
But I thought he said he was so
Probably felt
focused on the
forever.
victim.
I mean, people keep saying 19 and a half
Very
hours. It was
emotional
more than
for him.
19 and a half hours.
Yeah.
The jury was deliberating for 19 and a half hours, but there was time, obviously, that you're sitting there, you're waiting, you're wondering. Walk me through that time with you guys and the prosecuting team of the longer you waited. What was that like for you guys?
It's always hard waiting for the jury to come back, and I imagine if you took a poll of 50 attorneys, you'd have half that say, oh, it's better if they come back quick, and half that say they come back, you know, it's better if they come back or take longer to decide. I don't know, but it is, I guess, it's tough to wait. And it wasn't so bad the first couple of days. The Sunday that we had off between the Saturday and the Monday where the jury was off and we didn't have to come into court and we're just home, that was a hard day because you're just wondering, what are they doing? What are they thinking? So the
Oh my
waiting
God,
is
what are
always-
they
it's always
doing? What
tough
are
for
they
me.
thinking?
It may not be for other attorneys, but it always is for me.
How much second guessing do you do during that? Did I do this right? Did I do that right? Should I have done this differently?
I think you always do that. I mean, I can't tell you how much, but you're always going to second guess, should I have done this? Should I have objected there? Should I have not put that in the evidence?
So you're talking about his first
For me,
cuckolding
that's
session?
normal. Even if I think I put on a very strong case and I'm confident the jury's going to come back with guilty, I still wonder, should I have done that? Would that have been the thing they hung their hat on?
Should I have brought the
because you don't know at the end of the day what the jury's going to make their decision on.
When it comes to cameras in the courtroom, do you think that
Yeah,
impacted the
he
trial,
won.
or would it have been differently if there was cameras in the courtroom?
I don't know. I've never done a trial
Is there
with
a
cameras
state
in the courtroom, so I
with the,
can't really answer that question. I don't.
Is that what, sorry?
I don't.
Is there a similar fluffy interview, soft interview with the defense team?
He's very soft.
Look,
Fluff. You got
Did
to
it-
fluff.
the defense team have been on the defense team have been on Bob and Ali's channel.
But is this
and-
reporter with whatever channel she thinks she's working for, and
Yeah.
is she?
Was she the one that did it? With the
Did
defense?
she do a little fluff piece with the defense?
Oh no! Oh, okay. You're asking, have the mainstream media been
Yeah.
interviewing the defense? They
In the
did
same
an interview.
manner, this little fluff
No,
sort of.
no. And that's actually a good point. So when Russ McQuaid from, was it Fox 59, did an interview with Andy Baldwin and Jennifer Auger, he asked questions about but one of the questions was, did Richard Allen talk himself into a conviction by confessing so many times?
Well, okay.
Right?
All right, that's a fair enough question, but it leads me to a point that I want to make.
Yeah.
This is why you don't ever talk to the police. Remember, Richard Allen called the tip line
Yes.
because they kept pushing out, we need more information. It's been 5 years or however long it's been. We need more information. Does anybody have any information? He's like, all right, I guess I'll call. And
Well, this was right. He
whatever
called right
information
after.
we have, and here we are.
Yes.
Reminds me of Ian Runkle when he got that death threat and he called the police to report it and they started investigating him.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. They started investigating him. And they're like, oh, don't worry, we cleared you. He's like, what do you mean cleared me? I'm the victim here. I got the death threat.
Yes, and you're right, Dean. So Russ McQuaid, he was quite argumentative, not a
Yeah.
plus piece at all. And so that's probably the best comparison we can make, right? So if you're going to compare more mainstream media to mainstream media, so similar kind of interview as in, pre-recorded, and someone else in chat just made a really good point that the defense attorneys allow themselves to be live interviewed, whereas the prosecutors have not allowed themselves to be live interviewed at all. But if you're going to put apples to apples and say similar kind of interview, the defense have unfortunately been, well, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever, they have been subjected to argumentative questions, whereas this guy here has not. This is a puff piece.
I had to screenshot that perfect pause image of douchebag's face.
Oh, whose face?
The
Douchebags.
prosecutor, Nix. I just had to screenshot that. It was a perfect pause.
All right, let's keep going.
No, I don't know.
I'll be automatically going into this assume that if you get that guilty verdict, there could be an appeal process.
Yeah, I
Correct.
think so, especially with a murder charge and the fact that the sentence was what it was. Even the minimum sentence on these kind of charges is 45 years. So I think in any kind of murder conviction, you expect an appeal. We expected it. We expected it from day one that if we get a guilty verdict, he's going to appeal it. And so, yeah, that's something we're ready for.
How
What is
dare
your
he
opinion
appeal
of
it?
what happened? I know it's obviously been discussed. There
Must
have
be
been
a
saying they're going to do
narcissist.
it. He's been appointed attorneys.
The Attorney General's office will represent the state of Indiana, and the Attorney General will appoint probably 1 or 2 attorneys to handle the appeal. Our role at that point, myself, Stacey Diener, James Luttrell, becomes more of a supportive role. Help them with any documentation they need to review. If they have questions about what happened in the courtroom or how something was presented, we're there support for them to say, what information you need, let us help you get it. We know where that's at because we're the people in the courtroom trying it and they're not. So we're just a supportive role.
Should an appeal go through, do you prosecute it again?
When you say should an appeal go through,
it's
if an
approved
appeal
and
goes
it
through
goes back to
Stupid
trial.
and the Court of
Question.
Appeals says something was done wrong and it has to be retried,
Yeah.
do we try it again? Absolutely.
You couldn't talk for so long. Is there anything you want to say that you want people to know or take away
Edited.
from, whether it's this
Oh,
case
this
or
is
the impact
totally
it had on the
edited.
community?
Poorly edited.
I don't know. I guess if I had to say anything, just thank you to everybody that helped along the way. And I always forget names, but Doug Carter, Jerry Holman, Steve Miller, Stacey Diener, James Luttrell, my staff,
babes.
all the
Where's my
investigators,
call
Rich
out?
Davies, all
Yeah.
Brian Harshman, just
Excited utterance.
The
Oh, no.
list is endless. I said this the other day.
Ilya.
That I could not have done this by myself, and
Ilya.
I did not do this by myself. Though all those law enforcement officers, Stacy and Jim, the attorneys that helped me do it, they deserve as much praise as I'm getting. That's a fact. The family, for as compassionate as they were throughout that, and just that they were able to abide by the gag order and not say anything. I
How
mean,
important was that for you to please abide by the gag order?
it was important to me. It's an order from the court, and so I respect the court's order, and I was going to do everything to follow it. And again, I wanted to make sure we had a fair jury for us and Richard Allen. That was my main
It
goal.
was fine for you to talk about it.
To
You just
say,
don't
look,
want the
let's
defense
just
to talk about it.
not say anything so we can get a jury that's fair and unbiased, so we all are on even playing ground when we go into the courtroom.
Yeah, right.
Show
Yeah,
of
right.
hands,
Yeah,
who
right.
thinks a gag order in a criminal case is a good idea? Show me your hands in chat. It's a horrible idea.
I don't think anyone is putting their hands up. Who thinks it's a bad idea? Put a 1 in chat. Put a 1 in chat. That would be
Dude's
great.
giving me heartburn. Yeah, me too. No, it's just so they spent 5 years saying horrible crime, despicable person did this, horrible crime. Oh, look it, we have a name. And nobody talk about it. Nobody talk. Can't offer any defense statements. Nope, nobody talk.
Nobody talk. Now, we're about to redirect over to the part 2 of the interview of Brad Rossi over on Defense Diaries. So, guys, stick with us and you'll be teleported over to there. Question first from Ina Malcolmson. Question: do you need to do additional training or pass a different bar exam to go from defense attorney to prosecution attorney?
Nope.
No.
No, depending. If you're working as like an assistant prosecutor, your boss might want you to go through some training or something.
Sillies.
But from a legal standpoint, no.
No. There you go. I would like to really thank my good friend, MLS, Making Law Simple, David Helm from Michigan. I haven't had you on here for a little while. You've been over overseas. And it's been
I've
lovely
been
to
hanging
have
out
you.
in Scandinavia and not giving a crap about anything on YouTube. It's been wonderful.
Oh, you're
Been
Scandinavian
wonderful.
incel prude.
I'm back up and running February. I still got another week or so. A couple of weeks.
Love it. All right. And thank you also to Dali, Ilya, Satchel, T-Bone. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you to Ange previously for having me on. And guys, let's go and watch Mr. Rossi over on Defense Diaries. And everybody, this wouldn't be my stream without the song. It wouldn't be my stream without the song. So let's do it.
I'm already dancing.
Name was Ella. She was an Aussie. She was a fake lawyer from the future. She got on YouTube and made some live streams. The co-host is Dolly and she dances sometimes. The words are always so loud and because she's an 803.